Welcome, dear learner of senior secondary level in painting course. Today we are going to study something about the still life drawing, or which is called also object study. For object study, you can choose and pick up few things from your household. It could be a flower vase, a book, utensil, teapot, anything that you find around. So here we have chosen one flower vase and a book. It is placed on a table, flat table with black drapery on it. The artist now have to first make a layout. This is very important. When you are painting or drawing anything, first thing you have to know what space and how much space you are given to use. She is now working on a quarter sheet, and that is the space she has with her. And to adjust the flower vase and the book within this particular space is very important. One should not feel that this space is useless. You can cut it off. It is unnecessary. For this reason, you have to use the whole space that's given to you. But one thing you should remember, the objects should be in such a way that the weight and the mobility or anything that is in your mind should be intact in it. Now you watch carefully. First, she has made a frame of the same shape of the paper, and then there is two lines with a point in the middle that she can easily understand where to put the drawing of the flower vase. And then with the axis line she has drawn to give the two sides absolutely same, and then at the bottom there is a book here. So the perspective is more important when you drawing a square thing or a book. So when we are going to the main drawing, then I will explain how to use the perspective of a book. Now she will start shifting this layout on the main paper, which she will color. Now to get the exact measurement or the proportion of the objects to be shifted on the larger paper, again she has used these lines, finding the middle point of the objects. After determining that, she is doing light drawing of the book, because on this the whole thing is placed. Whole thing, I mean the flower vase, which is more colorful than the book itself. Notice the lines. The lines in the foreground and background on the side, all the vertical lines are always parallel. This is this, they are all parallel. But the lines going far from the foreground to the background are supposed to be meet somewhere in the end to a vanishing point. Where two lines the distance meet, we call it a vanishing point. So you can imagine a vanishing point of these two lines, suppose here. So these two are supposed to meet here. That means the vertical line of the foreground will be larger than the vertical line in the background. The same system will be used in all this, and then you join the top part of the square book or the rectangular book as it is. It is always better you complete the bottom thing, so you can get the actual shape of the lower thing. So, here she has done it, on which she will draw the flower bus and she will erase it. So, that the line will continue rightly in the middle point. Now, she is working on the flower vase, and the structure can be divided into three parts of this flower vase. One, its bulbous lower part, then the narrow tube like thing on the top of it, which is little narrowed on the top, and then the mouth of the jar or the flower vase, which is much smaller than the bottom. So, here we see how craftfully she is using her pencil. First, light points are made, the flow of line should be fluid and will move towards the bottom, and do not forget to keep the symmetrical form of the two sides. This is very important. So, the basic drawing is complete, and since she is going to color it, do not make drawing very dark. So, use HB pencil softly. On the contrary, when you are doing in pencil sketch or pencil drawing, you can use 2B or 6B, but when you are doing in color, so it is always better you use either HB or 2H, which is much hard in quality and it just give such sign on the paper. Now, the drawing is complete. Now, she will be doing the floral design on the flower vase itself. When you are doing the design on the flower vase itself, the rectangles or what the square, the basic of the designs here will change from top to bottom and from the both side, since the projection of the bulbousness is coming out and the slope of the two sides are going back. For this reason, the design also has been distorted due to this perspective. Now, she will complete roughly the basic design, that is almost a diamond shape. And when she is doing it, she is taking care how the narrow neck of the flower vase is distorting the design of the two sides due to perspective. Then there is a white band which is separating the upper part from the lower part. The design actually has only three colors. One is ultramarine blue, then sap green and then brown. The design is more visible on the top part of it, while lower part almost invisible due to its bottomness and also due to the light is mostly falling from top. In fact, source of the light is from the top mostly, though there are some light in the two sides also, but main focus is from the top. So, the upper part of the flower vase is more lighted and the designs are clearly visible on this part, and the colors are also brighter on the top rather than in the bottom. The book is rectangular in shape, and on the top of the book the cover has some colors, very faint pink and brownish and with white lettering on that, but the two sides that is visible, one side is little darker than the other side. That gives you the sense of perspective as well as heaviness of the book itself. Since it is rested on a black platform, so the whiteness is accentuated much more in this case. So, there is a perfect harmony. You can see the lower part is dark, then the book is lighter, then the flower vase itself is colorfully dark and the top again is white. So, it is a perfect choice of the object that is done by the artist itself. So, when you choose your objects, make it a point that each object should be somewhat related to the other, and the color scheme could be adjusted like that. So, the basic drawing of the motif or the design is done. Now, the detail of the design, the leaf like form of green and a diamond shape of brown on the surface of ultramarine blue. When you choose an object or still life from your household, always remember the shapes of the objects are pleasing and also they are compatible with other objects that you have chosen. Now, the forms here basically one circle, one tube and one rectangle, and the chosen objects are actually very much related to each other, as all the colors that I have just explained are related and giving the object a beauty. In the same way, we will find the colors are also should very much compatible to each other. There are different ways or different medium you can use for still life. It is not necessary that always you have to use colors. You can use simple pencil. For that you need only 4 pencils, HB, 2B, 4B and 6B. Beside the pencil, you can also use crayon and charcoal. I won't prefer you to use charcoal in the beginning because it is a little messy, but crayon you can always use, but the best result in the beginning will get with the pencils. So, try first with the pencils and then you move to colors. Now, in case of colors, there are 2 options are very much popular. One is the poster color, which is opaque and you can use directly with brush on that in a very thick and opaque manner. This poster color has one advantage. If there is any mistake by chance, you can always amend it. You can cover the part with thick color and repaint again without any problem. but unless you are very good in handling watercolor, which is transparent in nature, it is very difficult to complete a work, because if there any mistake done, you cannot amend it ever. So, you have to start anew the whole thing. So, my advice for the learners that you first start with pencil work, then with opaque poster color, and if you want to use canvas, you can use also acrylic color, and the cheaper version of the acrylic you can get in the Fevicryl, which is generally the same quality of acrylic, only in cheaper rate. Now, you watch the material she has brought with her to paint. She is going to do it in poster color in tempera technique, that means opaque technique. She has few bottles of colors, then 7-8 pencils and lot of brushes of different number. The brushes, when you choose, you have to be careful, because brush is a very important component of a painting. When you put it in water and try to bend it, it should not. It will come back to its shape like a spring. So, you can understand it is a good brush. Then the tip of the brush is also important. So, before you buy a brush, take care to test it, dipping it in the water, and just pull the hair of the brush and see whether it is coming back to its own position. For brush, I will advise in the beginning not to go for many. Gradually, when you will be more matured, you can buy a lot of brushes, but in the beginning just 4 brushes will be enough for you. Number 10, the broadest one, then number 8, number 4 and number 2. If you want to do very fine small still life or object drawing, you can also use number 1 or 02 brushes, but in the beginning I do not think it is necessary, because you do it in quarter sheet brush that you can move your hand more easily in this size. It is neither very big nor very small for the beginner.